Hey everyone, welcome back to the Critic-Verse. Today we're continuing with our recap and review of Gen V Season 1 Episode 6, titled Jumanji. Now, before we get to the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to follow along as I continue to review the rest of the season, to keep updated on all things Critic-Verse, and to help me reach my current goal of 500 subscribers. Now, I hope you've seen the episode, and even though I do recap it, this isn't a substitute for the source media, and will also contain spoilers. Now, on to the review. Once again, the episode is titled Jumanji, which is in reference to a couple of things in the episode. The main thing in reference is that the characters are stuck in Kate's mind, similar to the Jumanji movie, where the characters are stuck in the fictional board game of the same name. The title also has an in-show reference to when Kate pushes Rufus to hit himself in the nuts and shout Jumanji every time, which happens in episode 2, but was mentioned again in the previous episode. Okay, so the episode begins with Kate giving back Emma's memories, and then Kate starts to hear thoughts of the others while collapsing from overusing her powers. Marie then demonstrates another aspect of how useful her powers are medically when she speeds up Kate's pulse. Then, the primary purpose of the woods has been to develop a virus that shuts off a soup's powers, but Shetty wants to see how far they can really take it. Kate pulls Andre, Marie, Jordan, and Dusty into her mind, showing us that she's a lot more powerful than they or we thought. Next, we get a memory of when Kate's brother Caleb disappeared and her mother didn't want to be near her. And it's sad how much young Kate doesn't understand what's going on, even though her mom knows what happened. We get a Jensen Ackles cameo as his character Soldier Boy, who was Kate's imaginary crush as a kid, who taught her how to find the man in the canoe, and he and Andre have instant friction. He reveals that they're in Kate's head and have to find out why before they're stuck in there like the movie Jumanji. Next we see Emma finding Sam at the drive-in, and the two connect, and Sam is able to swipe his V card with Emma, showing a Muppet-style scene, but just of her, which seems like the puppet hallucinations are due to moments where Sam is filled with adrenaline, so that's how he perceives reality. We get another flashback of Shetty meeting Kate for the first time, and her parents keep her in a securely locked room, and Shetty is actually her first physical contact in 9 years, so it's easy to see how she was manipulated by her. The scene smoothly transitions to another memory / flashback of when Kate first met Luke. But Memory Luke confronts the group, revealing Andre and Kate were hooking up before Luke even died, and then Luke goes on to kill Dusty, R.I.P. We get to see female and male Jordan share the screen as we get Jordan's memory protecting Brink from Luke prior to episode 1, and how Brink was able to manipulate Jordan by accepting them and making Jordan his TA. Luke's special treatments were blood transfusions from his brother that would augment his powers, and it just looks really sick. It is also revealed that Kate has been pushing Luke multiple times, which probably resulted in his break in the first episode where he kept seeing Sam. Kate's mind pushes the group to Marie's memory, symbolized by her bathroom door. And then inside, her younger sister chastises her for killing her parents. But then Marie remembers and throws Kate's own words back at her from episode 3, about how it wasn't her fault, but her parents for having her shot up with V in the first place. And then Andre goes on to chastise Kate for wanting to not wake up and run from her problems, but pulls her back, saying that he loves her, and this wakes them all up. Next, Emma brings Sam to the group, and he's rightfully unhappy to see Kate, and while the others can't physically stop him, Emma talks him down before he actually finishes the job with Kate. And then back in the woods, Cardoza's virus kills the girl they were testing it on. But Shetty is actually pleased by these results and wonders if he can make it contagious. End of episode. Man, is she cold-blooded. Well, this episode was certainly an emotional roller coaster, but still had those fun moments that kept you on board. A couple of things I want to talk about from this episode. It was said that the events of this first season will directly lead into the storyline for season 4 of The Boys, and now a lot of people thought that would have to do with Soldier Boy's appearance since he first appeared in the last season of The Boys, season 3. But in typical Boys fashion, they subverted expectations and his scene was only a cameo playing a fictional character. Well, a fictional character inside a fictional show. Nothing to do with the overarching storyline and was just a hilarious, quotable scene. But what I believe will be the true carryover plot will be the virus storyline. The virus that can shut down the Soup's powers, which will probably be the new MacGuffin the boys will need to stop Homelander. And once the Gen V characters stop the contagious version though. And speaking of the virus, considering they state it as a way to control Soups, then there must be an antivirus which can restore the Soup's powers. Because if it's a one-way street, the only way I can see it being a method of control is if it's used under threat of use on a Soup. And I mean that the only way they can control a Soup is by threatening to take away their powers if they don't do what Vought wants. But leave it to Vought to create a problem, then act like it wasn't their fault and come up with a solution that could potentially become an even bigger problem. Because in real life, viruses can always mutate. So even though it just affects Soups now, if it goes on, it can potentially affect people who don't have V in their system. And the Woods coming up with methods to control Soups seems counterproductive given the experiments Brinks was conducting with Sam and Luke, given that he was using Sam's blood to make Luke stronger. But I guess if you think of it from a business standpoint, they're using Luke as another golden goose to help fund the school and also to help fund the Woods by default. But it also makes you think, can Sam's blood augment other Soups, or did it just work on Luke due to the fact that he and Sam were siblings and they had similar genetics? In the episode, it's revealed Andre and Kate had been sleeping together way before Golden Boy's death, which makes sense why Andre got upset at Tech Knight's questions, which again makes Andre kind of a hypocrite when talking about his dad's and Kate's manipulations and lying. And the events of the episode lead me to believe that Kate wasn't actually in love with Luke in the first place, and that their relationship was just a plant by Shetty and Brink to control Luke, and that Kate was actually in love with Andre, but could only act on it in secret due to already being a Vought pawn. We also learned that Kate is a lot more powerful than we understood, given that she can actually hear people's thoughts, but the blue pills that we see her taking, like around season 3, I believe, blocks that part of her abilities, and that she could actually be on a level similar to like Professor X or hell, maybe even Jean Grey. But she does have that brain limitation, given that how much she uses her powers could actually negatively affect her. Emma and Sam almost felt like they were going to follow the runaway lovers trope that exists sometimes in young adult shows like this, but thankfully Emma subverts that trope by telling Sam that they can't run away from this and that they should face it head on. But I still don't think that it's going to end well for them, given Sam's condition. But hey, who knows? And speaking of Sam, he finally gets regular clothes. Since previously he was wearing sweats from the woods and then the mechanic's jumpsuit, and now finally regular clothes. But you gotta think, where did he get that? Especially clothes that fit him like that exact. One thing that really surprised me with two of the actions from Kate and Marie is that God U doesn't have a medical tract, or at least that we know of. Considering Marie's powers would be a lot more useful at a hospital or as a field medic on a rescue team, instead of using her abilities off offensively trying to fight bad guys. Kate's powers feel like she should be a therapist, and that she could be real help to people getting to the root of their trauma, just like we ended up getting to the root of her own and some of our main characters in this episode. And one last thing I want to mention. R.I.P. Dusty. He died in Kate's mind, and when the characters woke up, they never showed him waking up with the others, and nor did the rest of the characters even mention it. Anyway, do you think Dusty is dead or not? Let me know your answers in the comments. Thanks for joining me in the Critic-Verse, and I'll see you next time.